I just feel really good. What's up, guys? Welcome to the Daily Refinement Mastermind call. I am going to actually put this live on YouTube today because I want some questions about bulk purchasing. Um, let me make this live on YouTube real quick. Um, Good morning, YouTube. I want to ask you guys if you have any questions about bulk purchasing. Um, if you want to do bulk purchasing, let me pop the chat out real quick and I'm going to go over what happened yesterday. So, yesterday I went to Assignment Outlet. I don't know if you guys can just Google search and see if you have Assignment Outlet near you. It is a chain of malls, and sometimes they do outlets and sometimes they do actual malls. Giant company. So yesterday I went to one because um, looking for inventory purchases. I have found that one of the most difficult parts of reselling is having similar items but different in a sense that having all of the same item makes your pool of people who buy from you really small because it's only that one item. It's like having a Rolex watch link for a Daytona. That's so specific, right? And if nobody's looking for that, then you don't make any money. But if you carry watch bands for 1,000 different watches, it's impossible to not make a sale. If you sell auto parts and you sell parts for the F-150, you're not going to be broke. You're gonna always have sales. I saw someone selling F-150 taillights, 21,000 pairs sold. That's a lot, but they sell millions of those trucks. Millions of those trucks. So that's just one car part that's been sold millions of times. Now, how do you even get bulk purchasing? So yesterday, um, one of my vendors told me that to really resell, if you want to start doing buyouts, and well, that's what I've been doing recently, buying trucks. To do that, you need 300 to $400,000 liquid. It's a lot of money. You have to have space, people, because you can't buy a truck and process it by yourself. I met two people in the group who did do that. So there's a gentleman in the group named Mike. He bought one trailer at a time, and he and his wife listed the entire thing. They stored it in a storage unit, and they listed the entire thing once a year. They turned around a 50K investment into around a 125K return. It tripled their money. Purchased for 10, sold for 60 plus on eBay after fees, 40 something, and they killed it, right? I'm sorry, not before fee, or it's lower than that because they shipping. So shipping and fees, they made like 20 bucks a sale times the whole truck, right? 10,000 plus units. Now, that doesn't require three or 400,000 liquid. That just requires you buying one truck, which is 50,000. But here's the problem. What if it's a bad truck, right? And what if you're listing too slow? It's hard. So backing down, right? Most people are not going to do that. They're not going to buy several trucks and get a building and a bunch of people. The next step is just buying bulk from one store, right? That's one step lower. Mike in the chat is saying for bulk, you source from the same people Ross buys from, and you have invoices full. Why don't you sell them on Amazon? So, Mike, the reason why I don't sell my overstock on Amazon is because I prefer to buy returns. If I was selling brand new stock, brand new, past season, I would sell on Amazon because I'm ungated in almost everything. So I could just send it to Amazon and be done with it. The problem is that's sort of a race to the bottom because I'm not the only one buying those goods, and Amazon is not for the faint of heart. And I actually prefer selling on Whatnot and Poshmark and eBay, getting the higher margin, listing it one by one. But I totally understand the wanting to send it to Amazon for a brand new item. I am just personally specializing in returns. But go ahead, Devin.
I think that's one of those things I was thinking about yesterday. He was asking about if anybody had any of those, those Amazon return stores, where it's like gets
Yep.
cheaper as the week goes on.
Mhm.
We have a new one that opened up here in an old defunct outlet mall here in my town that really never ever took off.
Yep.
And I have not been to it yet, but there's one next door to the flea market that I go to, and I have yet I've only went in there one time, and I don't know if theirs were Amazon returns or if it was all like Alibaba stuff because it was absolute just garbage. I mean, it'd be like electronics that were honestly, I don't even know if it even qualified that I would even want to put it to a Five Below store.
So I've never been into a Five Below store, but they just opened one.
Oh,
So
it's
in
a
my area, they opened a Five Below. I've never been there. We had Big Five Sporting Goods or something. That's different. And we have Dick's Sporting Goods. Five Below, I've never seen. I've never been in there.
you need to go to one. It's a pretty cool little concept, especially if you need to like buy like small gifts or like kids and stuff like that.
Yes.
It's worth. I mean, you'll go in there and spend 30 minutes easily. It's
So
worth a visit, especially take the kids with you.
I want to talk about Amazon returns for a moment because Amazon, and Bruce is in here. Amazon is trying to be the number one auto parts seller in the world. They're actually aiming for 1 hour delivery on car parts. So Devin's like, need a new battery? Prime 1 hour. They don't want you going to Pep Boys or they want to put all those companies out of business. A little bit evil, but that's their plan, right? The thing is, Amazon has up to 40% returns. Okay. So those car batteries end up somewhere. And this is the part that's really important. And Melanie put it in the chat too. Um, there are people who have contracts directly with Amazon. Okay. That's who I've been buying from. So Mike is saying for bulk, right now I'm buying from the same people who source for Ross, TJ Maxx, Marshalls, right? They are also buying from people who hold contracts with Amazon. Everyone listening right now is just one level away from a person that has access to liquidation returns. And the reason why I wanted to put this on YouTube today is because when I went to Simon yesterday, I went to a bunch of stores and I asked, is there bulk purchasing here? Right? I have a question. Is there bulk purchasing here? Is there a limit on number of items? Right? And a couple stores said, if you get caught reselling, you'll be banned from our store, right? I go to Gucci all the time, and the manager was like, if we catch you reselling, you're banned from Gucci North America. Same thing happened at Patagonia. When I went there, they said you cannot resell these goods, period, right? That's the policy. But okay, other stores absolutely not like that. I was completely shocked yesterday. I went into a store. I said, I want to buy bulk. And they said, okay, it starts at 2000. I could not believe that regular people have access to wholesale for $2,000. That's so cheap. Companies are really, really, really struggling right now. So, oh, Devin, how would they even know? If they caught you, the pieces are rare. So at Gucci, they only have two of every model in the store. So like if they see it on eBay, it was you. So not too hard to catch people. But I couldn't believe that there are stores like Yankee Candle or that's a horrible thing to resell. That's why I'm using it as an example right now. Don't go to Yankee Candle. There's not enough profit margin to sell on eBay, and also the profit margin is, I'm sorry, the shipping is quite difficult. I tried Yankee Candle because I wanted one of those giant listings with 100 different variations. Have you guys seen those? One listing, 10,000 sold. I wanted one of those. So I went to Yankee Candle. I bought 150 flavors. I put them all in one listing, and I broke like 5% of them. Even with the egg carton that they recommended, there's an egg carton shipping thing you can put the candle in. But if somebody drops it from 10 feet, it's done. Even if you pack it really well, just over like if it gets dropped multiple times on the way to the destination, which it might because it's heavy, then basically broken. And I don't want that in my business model. They call it flavors there. I know it's sense, but it's funny. Um, so anyway, you can just order wholesale. I couldn't believe it. You get, and they're like, okay, so here's the thing. It's not like it makes sense. It's not like you can order wholesale and now you're in business and you're rich. Like you can't order a Lamborghini as soon as you find a store that lets you buy wholesale. It just lets you look at their inventory and then you can quickly decide which ones are worth it or not. And here's another kicker. You can only do it at the store. This makes sense to me because they're not going to share their inventory list with you, right? But you can do it at the store. And I thought that was like insane. I went to the store and they're like, okay, here's the iPad. Here's the thing. You can't touch the iPad, but we can scroll for you. And I'm like, whoa, man, this is so interesting. Looking through the inventory, right? And seeing that you have a tax exempt form, which is free. Everybody, please apply for a tax exempt status. It is doesn't cost any money. Get it from your state. You can go to the outlet. Yesterday I almost thought about disappearing from YouTube forever. It's the first time ever. I was like, this information is so good, I might just disappear from YouTube. I cannot believe you can just go to the mall and order wholesale. What have we been doing? Why are we thrifting? It's so much easier. The item is brand new, right? You have an invoice from the company. So it's not like you have to prove where you got it from. You have the receipt, right? You can use a credit card to pay for it. So people who are worried about cash flow, right? You could just buy one at a time, go home, sell it, then you're good to go. There are plenty of items in the store that you could double your money one time. This is the part that people don't understand too. One time. After you sell it one time, the market is now different because there's somebody else might copy you. This is where like the variety is the important part. I worry about people going to the mall, finding something, doubling their money, going back and buying 20. That's not a safe model. I do not recommend you go all in. But I was just shocked that you can view people's inventory now. The one of the ladies at the store said, we used to be anti-reseller, now it's 90% of our business. Can you believe that? They can't turn it down. It's 90% of their business. They don't have the time to sell it on eBay and Poshmark and or Amazon, but they still have sales goals to hit, right? And there's so many people. This is the part that I thought was so interesting. After you have been in the backside of retail like me and seen how many units they produce, you realize that you can sell 20 or 30,000 units and not affect the market. That's the part that is literally shocking to me. I sold 10,000 pairs of Clove sneakers and it didn't affect the price. That's so many units and it didn't do anything. So, um, my mind is blown. I literally thought, I can't believe people can do it. How many people have even asked that question at the store? Can I do bulk purchasing? And the worst they can say is no, you cannot. And you're not allowed here again because we don't allow resellers here. But I'm so different. I couldn't believe it. I literally couldn't believe it. I stuff was like $300 and then wholesale from them $40. Selling on eBay for 100. Coach is the strangest thing I've ever seen. So Ben, today's topic is bulk purchasing Q&A. Yesterday, I went to the Simon Outlet Mall. Most people have a Simon Outlet Mall within a few hours, within like a 1 day drive of them. Um, how many people here have heard of it or could go to one? Yeah, they're everywhere. So I went to one and I went to a bunch of stores and asked, could I do bulk purchasing? What does that look like? Could I buy 10 of them? Is there a limit at the store? And very, very few stores have a limit beyond 10, and 10 is already a lot. Like buying 10 of one SKU is already that's pretty aggressive. You got to be pretty sure that's the right one. But at one of the stores I went to, wholesale started at 2,000, and if you spent 2,000, they gave you an additional 15% off, and it's tax free only. So they upload your tax exempt status. I have it at Best Buy too. When I buy Best Buy iPads to give away, technically I'm reselling. Oh, actually, that's not true. A lot of the iPads that I buy, I've been switching to selling them. Um, so I'll buy an iPad for $200 and I'll start it at $1 and it gets like the same traction as giving the iPad away. But now I can write off the whole thing because my cost of goods is the whole amount, but there's no sales tax. But anyway, once you have your sales tax number uploaded into the system, you're not paying sales tax. They're also giving you an additional discount if you buy a certain number of things. So the store I went to, it was $2,000. You get an additional 15% off. Plus, this is the craziest part, Ben. You get to use their iPad and look at their inventory. I couldn't believe it. I literally couldn't believe it. It shocked me. She's like, you can't touch it, but I can scroll through you. You tell me what category, I'll show you what we have as a brand. You can order from us. I couldn't believe it. I was like, this is crazy. And you can pull out eBay, you can look at the solds. I don't care because are you really buying 70 of them for personal use? No, you're not. So like it's a different world now. Retail, they're producing 5, 10, 15,000 units of every style. And it's just crazy. Jesse says,
You
do I
showed up
sell
with like a
clothes?
tax exempt form.
Tax exempt form you fill out. It says, and I'll tell, okay, so a lot of people are not familiar with it, so I'll just explain it. You go to your state, you go online, you apply for tax exempt status. It could also be called a reseller permit. It could be called a seller's permit. They give you a piece of paper, it's free. You take the piece of paper, it has a number on it. You can also use it at Costco if you're reselling Costco, especially Costco to Amazon. It's a good flip. You give them the number, it's like a 10-digit number. Then you are also required at the end of the year to report how much sales tax you collected. Okay, so at the end of the year, you have to say you collected zero and all of the sales that you did were online and the platform that you sold on collected tax and remitted it for you. Have to do that. So um, once that's uploaded, then it's like you go back and you can just order and you have such an advantage over other people who don't file tax exempt and they don't get the additional discount. You're buying stuff at 25% minimum cheaper than everybody else. And it's just so different. And now I know what the deal. So I'm not a drug dealer, I know, but I've heard the term cut the product. I don't fully know what that means, but I'm assuming you put less valuable drugs in the other drug, right? That's what eBay should be. You should get the banger items from the mall to bring people to your store and then sell them the pre-owned one. That is definitely how you make the most money. Everyone that has a huge store that I know has bangers in their store that bring people to the yard.
So I wonder if what if I does it only apply to items that they can't move, or what if items are like on already on a discounted, that are on their shelf or something like that? Would you still get the additional, if you bought in bulk, additional pricing
Really good
discount?
question. So at the store that I was at, current season was off limits, zero discount, and it was full price. And it was in the front of the outlet. So you walk into the store, the first thing you see is the current season, 0% off. One row in, 50% off. And I also learned a lot about pricing. So at the outlet, everything is 50% off or more, but it's rarely more than 70% off. So it's between 50 and 70% off at the outlet. And the first row when you walk in is full price. That stuff is never on sale, but if you are on the reseller list, they tell you when it goes for sale, and that's the day that you go. It'll literally go from full price to half off on a Thursday. And if
Hmm.
you buy one, you could be the early adopter onto that brand and pop one for 70%, 30% off on eBay or something because people are looking for that. But now that I realize that everybody like I'm learning a lot from the like different resellers, like let's say for example Rinzi. They're selling North Face and Patagonia and whatnot, but only a little bit of it. They're cutting their product with Reebok, Adidas, and um, Carhartt. What's the other brand? Duluth Trading Company, like the lower end brands. They use North Face to bring people into their thing. So that's like really thank you, Cam, for emailing me. I'll check it out. Um, but
That's a lot
I'm
of
just
different. That's a pretty amazing product of using Carhartt to cut your inventory to make it go further.
I know,
Yeah.
right? But the thing is that model only works at home. A lot of people right now are wondering what they could do. You could buy Carhartt and Polo Ralph Lauren is also a fantastic outlet to go to. It's one of the
Yeah, I
best.
have one near me, like literally within like 10 minutes, an outlet that's got it might be a Simon because they
Yeah.
got you
Yeah.
know, uh, Polo, Tommy, Coach, one of those kind of mid-tier luxury outlets, you know. So yeah, I was just thinking like, going you can go into the, Polo Ralph Lauren outlet and there are always discount racks in there.
Yeah.
That's why I was wondering if it would apply. I'm assuming if it's already on discount, it's last season's stuff.
Yes. And
So
this is the
yeah,
part that's really cool. So Jesse in the chat asked me if I sell stuff to Ross. I currently don't. I'm not a wholesaler, so I don't sell to Ross. But I know how to sell to Ross. You have to get at least like 10 different pallets of the same exact inventory. And then you can send it to 10 different Ross stores and they can give you some analytics on if they're going to reorder or not. That's how Ross works. That's why people drive. Let's see who's in the chat. I bet Mike Kelly in the chat drives from one Ross to the next Ross to the next Ross and finds the same thing because they send a couple to each store. That's how they do it. I currently don't sell to them, but that's how that works. Um, and Jesse's also saying in the front of the store, it's about having mannequins that are styled correctly. That is the point of the current season. I think the point of the current season is to sell the past season because there's not that many people who pay full price. Honestly, there's not. Most people don't pay. Can you even imagine paying $378 for a Michael Kors bag? That's not, who does that?
I
That
don't
doesn't,
think
that's
most
not a
people
thing.
know what's last season or new season. They just
Right.
go in the store and
But
shop.
they're not, they use the $378 current season to sell the half off last season. That's the whole point of the outlet. I mean, I feel like I've been with my head under the sand, not understanding the pricing because every single store is set up the same way, right? You have the bangers that bring people in, and then people don't have enough money to buy those, so they buy the mids, right? And that's the whole game. So I'm okay, so hold on before we get to Devin. Somebody's asking, but where to find these people so we get to buy in bulk? Okay. Um, they work at the store that you're trying to buy bulk from. So as an example, every single store I went to yesterday, I talked to a salesperson before I talked to the manager, right? I said, is there a store limit? What does it look like for bulk purchasing? Obviously, that's not the same question as a regular customer, right? And most of the time they said, let me get my manager for you. And I thought, am I going to get 86th? I don't even know why it's called that. That means kicked out, right? Am I going to get kicked out? But I never got kicked out. The manager just came and explained the rules to me. Every store has rules, and I know you guys have been to a Lululemon outlet, but like they're the only outlet where everything is on wheels because they will roll it right to your car. Yesterday, I went to one store. They had an employee use one of those Rubbermaid laundry baskets, and they came with me to my car to unload. Like they're ready to sell bulk. They're ready to do it. You just talk to the store and let them know what you're doing, what platform you sell on. Some of them don't want to know. They're like, I don't want to know because if I know, I could get fired. Depends on the store. Some people they don't care. You sell on Poshmark, great. We have an eBay guy, you're a Poshmark guy. We can keep both of you happy, right? If but they also are relatively loyal to their larger buyers. They don't want you to mess it up for them. Someone's buying a lot, they might restrict you. So it's just in some store they can kick you out for being a reseller. Target is a good example. Target, they have a strict no reseller policy. So Kent is saying Hoka on cloud to sell Reebok Hey Dudes is what I'm currently doing, but it's not just me, it's everybody. But now I just realize how important it is to have Hokas and on clouds in your store. It just gives your whole store more credibility. It makes Reeboks worth $3 or $5 more. So Gabby is saying some outlets have lower quality items, 100%, but most people are buying lower quality goods for a discount. It's better to buy the best thing you can afford in your category that you want for yourself and keep it for as long as possible. But most people are buying disposable things that they wear a couple times and throw away. Kent
Yeah,
says
it
that.
just makes me wonder because at one time I was doing a lot of the retail arbitrage stuff
Hmm.
early on, and it makes me realize maybe I was missing out on something, because I would go to like a Converse outlet because they
Yep.
always had sales going on, and I'd buy, in bulk, but I never got, no a discount or had to pay tax. It didn't even occur to me that, you know, that was an option at that point, so it's just interesting to think about.
Yeah, I think that the at first glance, when you walk into the Converse outlet, as an example, this is a good example. Converse, there's a lot of Converse that retail for 79 to 150. Like the majority of their shoes are in that range, right? And you go there and the outlet will be like 59, 39, back of the outlet 29, a couple pairs that suck, right? And you're like, none of these would resell for a profit. That's at first glance though, right? Because you're just looking at it like a customer, right? But they're motivated because if you've ever been to an outlet, they're not selling that many. I definitely bought more things than the entire store when I was there. They're motivated to move units because there's so much inventory. It's literally like I don't even know. My mind is so blown on how like everything they make 15,000 units of. That's gotta be the craziest thing to be a brand and be like, okay, we're gonna order 15,000 of 10,000 different things. Let's go. None of it is rare. We're gonna pretend like it's rare, and people are gonna pay $100 for it. And then they do just for a minute, for maximum one season. Then they have to discount it 70% off to get it to move. This is the brand.
So what do you think your approach would be to that? Because obviously I wouldn't want, like you were saying earlier, I wouldn't want to go all in and, buy 100 pieces of the same thing. I guess unless it was extremely hot, or on trend at the time.
Yep.
So I guess my thought would be to like test out a few different SKUs to figure out, you know, what's your threshold before, you run into an issue or something like that.
So when my wife and I went to the Nike outlet, we looked at the whole store and we only found one Pegasus running shoe for it was like $29 and it was selling on eBay for 79. So we talked to the staff and they said each of you can buy 10 pairs of it and we will let you do it twice. So like we'll pretend like we don't know you the second time you walk through the line, right? Just wear a hat, right? Well, you do it twice. You can get 40 pairs. It took us 4 hours to get 40 pairs. And I was like, okay. My wife was like, there's got to be a better way. You got to use your brain. We can't be waiting in line and to do this, right? And the store that I went to that I ordered wholesale from, they told me the next time they ship it to my house for $10. They don't want you in the store either, holding up the line. Like, like, are you serious? You're gonna go to the Nike outlet and buy 400 pairs and take them to your car one at a time? That's not a thing. But they're selling hundreds or
I'm gonna
thousands.
ask, like, I didn't think, was this a Nike outlet? Because they
No, no,
usually are
this wasn't
pretty
a Nike.
strict.
This
Yeah,
wasn't a
I
Nike.
figured it
No,
wasn't.
no,
Okay.
but like the clutch swag, like even though he looks like a goofball, he is kind of a goofball, but he figured out how to get the outlet to sell to him in bulk, right? Nike outlet. So it's just a little bit more work up front, but like it's just it makes sense because how the hell are they moving the inventory? There's not the people go into the outlet and they buy one shoe, but there's 5,000 pairs in there. Like there's definitely people buying a bulk. Yeah, I know, Devin. And there's stories of people like, I bought my first 50 pairs at the Nike outlet and then I got robbed on the way home. That makes sense. There's somebody waiting in the parking lot to make a good lick because you've never done that before. They're following you home. They can tell. They can tell. That's like an easy score.
Yeah, I
Um,
think places like Famous Footwear or something like that
yeah,
probably work with you because
yeah,
I'm surprised those places are still around.
yeah.
And
Famous Footwear has 12 people in it, and 8 of them work there. What kind of business model is that? That's not like Famous Footwear is so slow, right? And their prices are not even good. So like none of the items, all of the items that they have are above the eBay price. Lauren says there's so much theft at the Nike outlet. I know it is wild. It's wild. Right now it's wild, especially in California. Um, at our Nike outlet, they lock the door each time somebody comes in. Like they lock the door. They unlock the door to let you out. And that has prevented a lot of shoplifting because people like it's not just you can just literally walk out the door. You have to wait for the person to open the door. Um, Goodwill is now an authorized dealer for Chacos. That makes sense. Goodwill has been a dealer for Target for a while now. So Goodwill has been cutting their product with overstock, right? I don't know if you guys have ever been there, but I've bought ring cameras and blenders and stuff from Target overstock that's gone to Goodwill. They buy it. Um, this is a really cool sneaker that Jamie put in the chat. I don't know if you guys want to try and get it, but double your money.
I'm gonna
Jamie.
buy them and hold. I think you hold them for 6 months, they're gonna be up to about $700.
Um, Jamie is saying that in California you get a nice discount from the triad. That's not true anymore. The triads and the Yakuza have all moved the real estate. They graduated. They don't really do the street hustle stuff anymore. They don't do that anymore. There's like the organized crime in California is mostly petty crime from random people. Sadly, it's not as organized as people think it is. Of course, they bust some rings and stuff, but it's not. It's like some lady in a duplex with $100,000 worth of Lululemon. That's. But the thing is, $100,000 worth of Lululemon is like 1,000 pieces. That's not. It's like a couple of people who break in and steal stuff. It's not like the triad. It's not a gang. Um, yeah, it's just I just can't believe how much bulk purchasing is available. And so right now I am um in the process of making I think on Thursdays I'm gonna go and try and make deals. I want to buy from my local stores. That's a big goal of mine. So John who does our men's clothing call, he told me that on my bucket list it should be to buy out a store. I've never done it. I've never bought out a store in person and I really want to try. I know Resell Rabbit has done something like that. I know other resellers have purchased stores like Dick's Sporting Goods or whatever is going out of business. You can go in there and buy stuff. But I'm really I'm really curious about going into a store and trying to buy all their overstock because they're not selling anything.
What you should do is go into that when you do buy the store. If you do buy the store out, take your equipment, do whatnot fees from there directly, and then have a guy in the background that's going to buy off anything that doesn't get sold. I think that'd be a cool thing to see you do.
That is interesting, right? Just sell it there. Um, so this is a good question, Vincent. He's saying, can you buy from an outlet and use that receipt to get ungated on Amazon? I think so. I think that would work. I think that like I have a receipt in my email right now that shows that I purchased at least 10. But sometimes they want an authorized dealer and not a receipt from the store. But like if you go to like Earth, what is that website? There's a bunch of websites that you can buy 10 of something and then submit that invoice in to get ungated. It depends on what brand. Melanie's saying it's not
Those
possible.
those are usually include huge markups, like 300% markups to get those invoices for the 10 items.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you only have to do that one time. I mean, if you're trying to get ungated in something, hopefully you can do some volume in it. Mike is saying it's more difficult to get ungated now on Amazon, but it's also like not that difficult to find an invoice that would qualify if you just start looking around. If you just type in the brand that you're looking for wholesale, somebody will overcharge you and give you an invoice that you can use to get ungated, I'm assuming. As long as you're doing $10,000 in sales and you get a real invoice, you should be able to get ungated. But I hear you, Mike. It's becoming more difficult, but like. And even if you are ungated, you're still blocked from selling some SKUs. Like Under Armour, even if you're ungated, you cannot sell all Under Armour. You can't sell current season. But the Amazon model is very interesting. Mike says you can buy 50 from Amazon and use the Amazon invoice. I love it. Um, it's been, I mean, I haven't been on YouTube too much lately, but I feel like it's like a turning point in the reselling world where a lot of the new stuff is hitting the market. I've even seen that in the storage unit world, where I'm even hearing storage unit people complain that at the flea market, there's so much new stuff now that they're not selling any of the pre-owned stuff because people would rather buy new.
Yeah, I got a few Amazon return sellers at my closest flea market.
If I can. This listing, you guys can take a look. Um, all right, let me show you this. All right, here we go. So this guy emails me and he says, "Hello, Chris. I have several thousand units of overstock I am trying to sell. They are high quality. I can sell samples on request." So I tried to do some FBI work and I figured out what product he was selling. So I'm like, "Is it this?" Right? So okay, this is his brand. He sells these bags. He sold around 30,000 of them on Amazon. Um, so what happened was Amazon went to the factory that he was selling these from. They bought this bag, renamed it, re-keyworded it, and they're selling the same bag for around 19.99 Prime, and they put this guy out of business. So this guy's business is now done. He doesn't sell these anymore. Even with the ratings, all the work, all the photos, he's out of business. He's trying to sell these for $8 now to me. But I think it's too hard because it's too hard to sell 50 of the same bag, 100 of the same bag. You need Amazon to move that kind of volume. And just don't have the traffic on eBay. Like would not recommend anybody here buy these bags for $8 to resell on eBay. The margin's too small, right? These are really cool, but it doesn't work. Amazon scares me because of the race to the bottom. I prefer returns because they're more unique. James says you have to be at $2 buy cost. That's really interesting. Um, I don't know. Would you guys buy it for $2? I can't buy it. I feel like they would just sit. I don't know how to right? There's no look, so here's the thing. Women's quilted leather weekender travel duffel bag, right? 100% it's like a keyword masterclass. This is how these guys, there's no brand, right? And he sold 30,000 units with no brand. That's very, very, very impressive. But I can't really buy it for $8. It's like and I know he's just trying his best to get his money out of it. Um, but I have found that these
Real
large
leather?
yeah. Oh wait, PU leather, what's that?
Uh, yeah, because I was just wondering how you could use leather as a keyword if it's not actually, because a bag that big that's real leather for $30 seems almost impossible.
Let's see.
I think PU is polyurethane, but I'm not positive.
It
Are they
can't be
branded at
real
all?
leather. Hmm?
Are they branded at all?
No.
So get an embroidery machine, put a name on it, hire an influencer, and sell them
Yeah,
for
yeah,
45 bucks.
exactly, exactly. That's the game. Yeah, they're not branded. The reviews on these bags they're modest, but there's still reviews. Like there's still a couple hundred reviews on these bags. It's just it's so hard. It's like not an easy thing to do. And it's just so sad that Amazon can come in and destroy your business. So PU is polyester. Gabby is asking, why do you think people like buying new? Um, why do people like buying new? If it's the same price, I would prefer new over used. Um, would you guys buy something pre-owned if it's a little how much cheaper does it have to be? Like new, a like new item versus new. How much cheaper does it have to be? Jamie says half. I don't think it's that low. Is it? It's got to be half as cheap, or you guys just get the new one?
I don't know. It's a good question. It might depend on what the item is, though, too.
Yeah. I remember when I texted Vince when I bought the Carryuma shoes, and the used ones were selling for the same price as the new ones. There wasn't any, but because there wasn't very many of them. So like you wanted a size 8, there's only one used one. So you gotta pay $30 for it.
I wonder what the price is now, because I think there's quite a few of them on there now.
A lot of people say half. Is that true? Because how many people want to pay retail? Nobody, right? So what does that mean? If the store is discounting at 30% and you want 50% off of that if it's used, I'm assuming Jamie means used but still in good condition. That doesn't leave much meat on the bone.
No, I don't mean used. All right. Are you familiar with the pawn shop, how pawn shops operate?
Mhm.
So
Go
you
ahead.
take something that's brand new in there, right? They're going to give you 25% of the value because they're going to
Yeah.
sell it for 50%.
Yeah.
So why would I pay more than 50?
You know, that's a really good question. Do you know why do you think a pawn shop sells it for 50% of retail?
To move products?
Yes, I think so. Because they don't want to sit on it. They're not a pawn shop is not a store. They want to just earn interest on their money. And they don't want a 1 year sell-through rate.
Well, that's why they give you 25% because I mean, that's just smart business.
Yeah,
Usually they loan you money, right?
but
And
they would rather you come back and get it.
they would,
Yeah,
but that's why they give you so little money because if you don't come back get it, they have to sell it.
that's right. But and if they do have to sell it, they want it to move fast. That's the whole idea between paying you basically pay I would say I don't know, there's probably some shady pawn shops, but like ideally they'll give you half of what you can get for it on eBay. Like a more established pawn shop, but like it depends on your situation and how easy it is for them to move that product. Because silver and gold, they're giving you at least half of what it's worth. Well, to be honest, Jamie, there is only one pawn shop here. So I don't know. I only know the one pawn shop that I went to, and I talked to the guy, the owner, and he said, I do not want to sell anything. Please come back and get your item and just pay the 10% interest. I don't want to sell anybody's stuff. I feel bad selling people's stuff. I just want to have some collateral so you'll pay me the 10%. Melanie says Pawn Stars gives less than half. I went there with a bobsled thinking that they buy cool items. They don't. When I went to Pawn Stars in Vegas, they're like, we just buy jewelry and watches, dude. Like, okay. Not like a TV show.
So the TV show is fake. They don't buy all that other stuff or something.
It's not fake. They just call the people to bring in cool stuff. It's not, they go on eBay and they find people with cool stuff and they invite them in. Um, yeah, I just don't know that much about pawn shops. I only have a little bit of, I only have the one store I've been to. Um, and they have a holding period of 30 days before they put it out on the floor. I'm assuming that's standard or maybe that's law. But yeah, I bought a Scarlet mixer to resell at the pawn shop. It was about half of what it would sell for on eBay. But
That
today's
might be a
conversation,
good avenue.
what?
That might be a good avenue, doing bulk purchasing from pawn shops.
It is. It's a good model because they don't want it. They don't want it. Originally, my friend Prince, he called every pawn shop in America and said, can I buy any GoPros that you have? I will give you about half of what it's worth on eBay. I feel like that's reasonable. I will send you the label and you just mail it to me. And he was able to get 6 to 10 GoPros a day from home, having them mailed in just by calling every pawn shop in America. Most of them have one GoPro in there. So that's one model of buying bulk from pawn shops. C in the chat saying she'll pay 30 to 50% off of retail for something that's used. And Gabby wants to save at least $30 and she'll opt for the used one.
We also got to remember that some items, I mean, let's talk about DVDs and Blu-rays. When Walmart's warehouses get overstocked, they literally give them to like dollar stores for nothing, just for write-offs.
Mhm. You know what's crazy is that sometimes they lose money giving it to Dollar Tree because Dollar Tree still wants to know like how many items they are. So they like pay somebody to count how many CDs they have or DVDs they have, somebody to box them up, somebody to put them on a pallet and then ship it to them and for free because they don't, it's still cheaper than throwing it away. There's so many things that are like kind of insane. And that's why all the counts are wrong because they're just guessing. Good morning, Kathy. So what's everybody up to this weekend? Um, Today I have 1,100 things to ship, and all three of my shipping people called out sick. It's Friday, baby. So I'm gonna test the Amazon tape machine. I bought one. So you press a button, it shoots out the tape, whatever inches you want, 12, 18, whatever. I got a really good deal on boxes. So two pairs of shoes is very difficult to fit into a poly mailer, which is what we use to ship. So what I'm going to try to do is today is payday. I don't know why people are taking a day off, but they are. Um, one last fiesta before Q4. Kent says all my packages are destroyed. That's why I'm going to try sending in boxes. But I guess I can practice shipping 1,000 times a day by myself. Russell is finishing remodeling his family room so he can get back his workplace. I love it. Maybe. That's interesting. Maybe I'll record myself live shipping with Chris. Wow, Kent.
You're not gonna do another Charlie Chaplin, are you? Where you just sit there for 6 hours with no sound?
No, I guess I'll turn the sound on. It's just that the music gets copyright strikes. Yeah, I think
Why is
so.
YouTube like that, real quick? I mean,
Because
I can understand if it's somebody in music that you're intentionally playing, but if you just happen to be, walking through a store or through an area that's, or it's got a street performer playing a song, why is that? Why do they count that against you?
because they don't know if I'm using that music to monetize my video.
Right, royalties. Like if an artist were to get on the internet and see that Chris used one of his songs and find out that YouTube didn't get his money and then go through the channels for him to get paid, then he can file against YouTube for it.
Well, I mean, I understand the whole royalty thing aspect of it. I mean, obviously, you know this much better being in the music business, but what I'm saying, if it's not intentional, why is it count? I mean, that's the part that doesn't make sense to me. I mean, I can
How
understand
do
if you're
they
like filming something at a concert, but
how do they know it's intentional or not? That's the like that's why it
Right
just
now,
yeah, go ahead.
the way it sits on YouTube right now is it has to be over, you can be up to 29 seconds. It has to be 30 seconds or more of legible music. So that has to be, you have to be able, you can't just be like weak background. Um, Over 30 seconds, they will hit you for it. But if you stay at 29 seconds or under, you can get by.
Yeah, they're trying to to relax it a little bit, but it's I like it. I'm okay with it. I wish there was a way to like background music delete, right? A little easier way to do that because sometimes it really is unintentional. You should be able to click a button and make it a little bit easier. You can edit the video, you can edit the music out of it. In post production, you can also do it after you've uploaded the video, but it's just it's becoming more mature. So musicians are getting paid properly, or not necessarily musicians, but the people who own the music rights are getting paid properly. And I don't know if the musicians get any of the money. Jamie would
That
know.
link I just posted, that you can go to that link right there and check copyright on any songs you want to use.
So Russell, apparently the reaction videos are different enough that they don't violate the copyright infringement. But, how much different is it to just listen to it and then make a funny face? I saw this reaction guy that says this is actually pretty funny. He'll watch the same video 3 times in a row, right? React to it. And then in post-production, he'll take his best reaction to it and make that into a video. And it's just like that's like when I heard that comedians they film their live special sometimes 7 times wearing the same thing. And then, Netflix will cut out the best takes and the best audience reaction and stitch it into one.
There's also, if you credit the artist in your post, YouTube, because you know how YouTube automatically, like a lot of songs, they detect them and then they automatically pay, like they're pre-approved, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
For use. So if you always make sure that if you do use music, that you credit, just like these people that do like news reports, like they credit the news, whoever reported it, whatever they're using, and then that clears them.
Mhm. Oh, Vince, I don't know how many I can ship. On eBay, I was shipping 23 items an hour. I'm sorry, a minute. Hold on. Back up. One item every 23 seconds. So I guess it might be a good idea to figure out how many I can ship today. Um, let's see if I still got it. I also don't know how many shipments 1100 orders is because a lot of people buy more than one item. So see if how that works out. All right, YouTube. Thank you for the bulk questions. We're gonna